right, Cybertruck owners, we have the swivel mount. Super affordable, easy to install, giving you 40 degrees of angle turning in all four directions. Let's hop inside and get it installed right now in our real-time RPM Tesla installation video. Okay, just get in your Cybertruck. We're gonna put the screen into clean mode just to keep it nice and black, and charge your phone while you have it mounted. Our yokes are doing great, real carbon fiber. So grab the installation instructions, and it's basic. We're gonna go through the whole step-by-step process. So you don't need any of this if you just continue to watch this video. All right, while we get that ready, we're gonna do one of our little commercials. This is our super long windshield cleaning extension rod. This is great, cleans the inside, cleans the outside, microfiber towel, super collapsible. Look at how small that is. Just throw it right underneath your seat. You can even pop the handle off if you want. And again, in stock, cleans the outside, cleans the inside, and it reaches all the way across your dash, whether you're going across on the outside or down the front on the inside. Easy, easy, easy to use. And again, cleanable microfiber pad and a scrubbing pad in case you're ever washing it and you want to wash it. Okay, so now we're going to open everything up and put everything up on top. So step number one is the removal of the temperature sensor. So this is the cabin temperature sensor. A lot of guys don't know what to call this. This is just a little cover which shows you how to take the sensor cover off, so we can access the current mount or hinge. So we're going to leave our wire here that is hidden in the back, and we'll bring the whole display forward. Okay, step number two is the temperature sensor or cabin sensor. See, we're just going to unscrew this. That'll take it off the plate. All right, and once you get the sensor released from the panel, it comes right off. Then we have to detach the cabin sensor from the back panel. So we'll try to show you front-on views. One more screw to go, which is a T20. And we'll be using it once we put the all right, so this is your stock sensor mounting plate. Put that up there, and now we have the sensor. So this measures the temperature in your cabin and turns your air or your fan up or down based on temperature. Okay, so we're using a microfiber towel, and again, this display is going to come out and sit face down. We're going to use all the stock tools, and the next step is to remove the stock mounting bolts. So let's get in there. Okay, so we have two 10mm bolts to remove, and we're going to use the stock tools that we give you in the kit. Okay, this one on the right, one on the left. And again, this is step number 3 in real time. So you see this takes a lot of time without power tools. Once you crack it loose, you can use the other end. And while we're doing that, again, we want to show you the height. A lot of the screen rotating mounts we sell really drop the height of the display, which usually blocks your charging pad. We know our charging pads in the Cybertruck are mounted in the center console and they're not directly below it. So again, that's a big advantage. We've got this little tiny inch here and it's going to come out and it's going to turn 40 degrees, up, down, right, or left. So again, that's the big advantage. We're not blocking your cell phone charging mount. Then, after we get that bolt taken out, we're going to move on to step 4, and that's going to be after we remove the display. And this is the most critical part, because you are going to be unplugging a wire from a circuit board, and you don't want to break this. Just be very cautious. Watch all of this video, and you'll see how careful we are in removing that pink connector. All right, so we got both bolts out. They both came out through the bottom, and now we're just going to slide it out. I want to show you behind here. You're just sliding your display out, and we have a wire in here that's running our wireless charging pad. All right, so again, now we've got the display sitting on top of the dashboard top, so we can show you and light up the plug that we're going to remove from the circuit board. So again, this is an orange plug, not pink. That's from Model 3 and Model Y, and we're going to squeeze it and try to keep our hands out of the way to show you what's going on. So it says here on the instruction sheet, while pushing inward on position number 2, disconnect the data cable. So we'll get it off, and then we'll show you what we've done. So that's the data cable, and then we're going to show you right over here how it disconnected, and we'll put it right down on top of this. So this cable came out of this plug, and they made it simple. You just push the orange tabs in. You pull these down to release it. So it is a lot easier. It's a lot more stable than Model 3 and Model Y. Squeeze here. Squeeze there to connect it back in once we change the mount. Okay, next step. Okay, these are the 4 parts we're going to be using. This is the original plate that covers the temperature sensor in the cabin. This is the new plate. This is going to be the mount cover. This is going to be the turning display, and also the bottom piece. So these are the 4 pieces we're going to be installing. We've got the display laid down like this on its face, and we're going to put a little extension cable on, and be right back. Pieces we're going to be using, this is the original cover for the in-cabin temperature sensor. We're going to substitute that with ours, and these are the different pieces that are all going to connect behind, and this is our data cable extension. So what we've done is we've released the cable, and now we're taking off this backing. So this is called here in step number 5 that we're going to release the backing. In order to get this off, you've got to get all 3 of these tabs. 2 are on the right, 1 is on the right, 1 is on the left, and 1 is in the middle. Now the middle one is giving us a little bit of a problem, or cover, and you don't want to damage it. If you ever have to put it back to stock and take it in for service, you always want to be able to keep your original pieces. You never want to give Tesla the opportunity to say, we can't warranty your display. Put it back to stock and just put it right back on. So anyway, now this is the way it came off. So this is forward, dropping down. And you just want to wiggle it back and forth until you can get it loose. So it does take force. Okay, now we're flipping back into number 4. So the black plastic cover should have come off of this. And now we go forward to number 6. And the extension cable now is going to plug directly in here. Okay, now to connect this cable, you need to have a USB-C coming out of your dash. And you're not going to have that if you haven't removed all of the plastic housing. So again, this is a male USB-C, which is going to extend it to the display. So you've got to go back to the cable and take that little plastic clip off and the front clip. So it leaves a USB-C, and it looks just like the picture. like this. All right, now we're gonna plug in the extension open end cable. Again, it's USB-C, male to female. Slide it all the way in. And then we're gonna use one of the zip ties to connect it to the same optical cable, which is right here and right here. So we'll put a little tie on it. The tie is supposed to be after, just after the piece. This will keep the cables together. Then we're going to use a tool to connect the temperature sensor back to the new cover. Again, this lets air inside so it knows the temperature. Okay, we're using the stock original screws, and we're using the replacement cover, and we're going to connect it right on the front. And is there an up or down is the question. Probably only fits one way. Okay, good. Just thread those on. Once it's snug, we're going to move on to the next step, which is simply inserting the rotating screen bracket into the groove, making sure that you're protruding edges, and then we're going to go to number 8, putting the cover on, and going on from there. Okay, number 9. Take it, make sure you hold it this way correctly, and slide the pieces in. Now, in the S and the X and the Y and the 3, these move around a little bit. They're mounted to a bracket inside, but don't worry about fine-tuning it. We're going to line up the screws and the bolts after we put the cover on. So this is the cover. This goes right underneath the entire dashboard area. This slides right in, looks great, matches, look at the color matchment, awesome. And then we're gonna screw up from below. So the next part is putting this display back on, and then we've got to connect the connector, the USB-C, and then leave this piece hanging down. So these are the long bolts they're giving us, number 11. So you're going to take the long bolts, the M6s, and feed them up from underneath, straight up here, under there, and that's going to connect the OEM protruding arms to the top of the new mount. So just try to get the angle in your mind and understand that the bolt's going to go straight through, and make sure you've got this lined up so when you do put it in here, you won't have any issues. Push that to the side and make sure it's nice and straight. So this is a fun alignment issue, potentially. Once the head's coming through, you'll know. You'll feel it grab. So this is a good test. Make sure you get it. And then we're gonna put the cover back on. So this side, you might want to get both of the screws set in the threads and then leave it alone and then come back. Now that side moved out a whole bunch. This side didn't. So we're gonna go back here, put that cover on. And this is just to make the extension arm simple. Give you a low angle and you'll feel it grab the threads. It's not going to grab until it goes all the way through. So remember, we're putting it through about a 1-inch gap. And as it starts to get flush here, it'll catch. nice and snug. Now the cabin temperature cover is step 12. We're going to just slide it in place, and that puts the sensor back in a position where it can measure temperature in the Cybertruck. See that we're putting it into this position, obviously with the sensor on the inside, so it's not hanging down. That kind of snaps right in place, and the sensor is on the outside. I'm sorry, it's on the inside, so when you look underneath here, you don't see anything. So the instruction sheet is correct. So the actual sensor is on the inside of the dashboard. Sorry about that. All right, now we've got the wire hanging down, and we're going to proceed on the 13, where we're going to put this, or mount this, and attach it to the back of the display. So it says secure the clips of the 3 positions again. So we've got the same 3 clips, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and again, this is the original piece that we're not using. So this is what will be left over to return it to stock. So these are being replaced by this piece and this piece. So again, according to the screen, secure clips, the 3 buckle positions included in step 5. So again, that was sliding in the side piece. Right. So it's not exactly flush until you push it down a little bit. That's going to hold the mount on. All right, now we're ready to attach the actual display to the turning functional part. But according to this, we've got to connect the connector first. So, okay, now the original pieces we're going to connect to the end of the extension. So remember, we extended the cable, we took off the plastic housing, and now we got to put this all back on. This will keep it locked in and secured into the circuit board. So again, this is going to be put back together. We extended it about 8 inches long, and now we're going to put all the clips back on, put it all back together the way it originally came. And then we're going to plug it right into we call it the motherboard of the CPU. Okay, since we didn't have enough slack, we decided to remove the strap or the zip tie so we have more room. You need to get this cable in here like this. Here, I move it forward a second. You need to get this cable in here, go around here, connect it, and then get it out of the way. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, this plane, this is not going to go in there. So you need more slack. Don't use the zip tie. All right. So now we're going to put this piece back in, snap it in, and the zip tie, or sorry, the cable that's going to go to the display is going to go around this panel or come out the top. So now we have this much slack, okay? And make sure you can move it back and forth once we connect it. Okay, so we've got it hooked around. We brought some light in. And now we're going to show you. So again, we don't have a ton of room, but you got to get the cable on the inside in there. All right, now we brought in some more light, and again, this is what's going on. We've got to line this up straight. Okay, we moved our hands to show everybody. So see the orange clip? That's got to be flat and flush and down. All right, and the display's on, so you're good to go. Now, we mentioned this cable. turn that off real quick. So this cable can't be in this long slot. It has to be moved over to the side. But you can't move it to the side unless you get more slack. And you can't get more slack until you move it closer to the bracket. Okay, now before you mount the display, make sure that the black cable is moved to the side to this round area, so it will allow the slack to transfer to the right and the left. So see my finger here? Make sure it's down in there, and we're gonna go up and over and slide it on. And once that's in place, we're gonna install the last bolts. Okay, again, the cable's gonna have a lot more relief, and we should have some clearance in there for this to turn freely. We're a little worried about it because it has to go under. Anyway, now we're gonna take the last bolts and go all the way up and tighten them in. And you're gonna have to lay on the ground and get like a real low angle and insert it and line it up. So you gotta play around with it and make sure you're grabbing it correctly. And get it snug, torque it hard. Now, stiffness of the display is a unique area where people have always asked us, even with the Model 3, with the original inventor that created it before the Chinese copied it, how easily it turns or vibrates going down the road on a rough road. So all these things matter, and again, this is the one that we chose. So right now the screen is back, I'm pushing it down, and lots of force is required. So see how much my hand is here, pulling it up. So it does not move easy. So the mount and how this pivots is very relative. And again, we want to give people a clean look from the side, from both sides, from the steering wheel side. And again, when it's turned all the way like this, underneath, nothing is visible except one screw head and the optical cable or the HDMI cable. But again, now there's lots of room for it. So again, that's got to have slack to turn from one extreme to the other, back and forth. So it is nice. It's a little bit lower. We're going to take some measurements. We want to know the distance from here to here at the lowest point, and we're going to let everyone know that in a second. And then again, now let's show you some of the extremes it can do. So we'll turn it right and left and right. So this is all the way to the driver level. And going down. So this is all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, left and right. Very cool.